The cameras have stopped rolling, the stadiums have gone silent, and the spotlight has faded to black. But our countdown of fallen stars is far from over. In our first video, we revealed how 10 celebrities traded their fame for prison cells, from Hollywood actors to business moguls whose empires crumbled overnight. Now we're diving deeper into the shadows, where even more shocking stories await. From rock stars who betrayed their fans' trust to athletes who threw away legendary careers, these next 10 celebrities prove that no amount of success can protect you from the consequences of your darkest choices. The fall from grace continues, and what you're about to discover will shake you to your core. Ian Watkins, rock frontman, exposed as a predator. Ian Watkins rose to fame as the charismatic lead singer of the Welsh rock band Lost Prophets. With his powerful voice, edgy image, and hit songs, he built a massive global following, adored by millions of fans. But behind the stage lights and screaming crowds, Watkins was hiding one of the darkest secrets in music history. In 2012, shocking allegations surfaced that he had engaged in horrific crimes involving minors. The revelations stunned the world, not just because of the crimes themselves, but because they were committed by a man so idolized by young fans. Investigators uncovered evidence of exploitation, manipulation, and acts so disturbing they were described by prosecutors as some of the worst they had ever seen. In 2013, Watkins pleaded guilty to multiple charges and was sentenced to 35 years in prison, with an additional 6 years on extended license. The news sent shockwaves through the music industry, permanently destroying the band's legacy and leaving fans devastated. Once celebrated as a rock icon, Ian Watkins is now remembered only as a symbol of betrayal and moral collapse. His story stands as a grim warning of how fame can be twisted into a tool for abuse and how justice ultimately prevails. Shannon Richardson. From TV extra to federal prison for bioterror. Shannon Richardson was a little-known actress with small appearances on shows like The Walking Dead and The Vampire Diaries. But in 2013, she made headlines for something far darker than her brief on-screen roles. Richardson mailed letters laced with ricin, a deadly biological toxin, to President Barack Obama, New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and other public figures. The act was not only reckless but posed a direct threat to national security. At first, Richardson tried to frame her husband for the crime, claiming he was responsible. Investigators quickly uncovered the truth. She had ordered the supplies herself, prepared the poison, and sent the letters. Federal authorities called the case both disturbing and bizarre because it showed how someone with no criminal history could suddenly cross into the realm of terrorism. In court, prosecutors highlighted the danger her actions posed, even if the letters were intercepted before causing harm. The judge handed down a sentence of 18 years in federal prison, ensuring she would pay a heavy price. From a background actress to a convicted criminal, Shannon Richardson's story is chilling proof that shocking crimes can come from the most unexpected people, and that no one, celebrity or not, can escape the consequences of such dangerous acts. R. Kelly. From king of R&B to 30 years in prison. For decades, R. Kelly was celebrated as the undisputed king of R&B. With global hits like I Believe I Can Fly, he built a music empire, selling millions of records and shaping the sound of an era. Fans admired his voice, his songwriting, and his ability to create timeless anthems. But beneath the glamour of stardom was a horrifying reality that eventually shattered his legacy forever. For years, allegations swirled about R. Kelly's predatory behavior, exploiting his fame to target vulnerable young fans. Investigations revealed a disturbing pattern of manipulation, abuse, and control that stretched across decades. Prosecutors described him as the leader of a criminal enterprise that enabled and covered up his crimes, using his power to silence victims and critics. In 2021, R. Kelly was convicted on federal charges of racketeering and sexual exploitation of minors. The verdict marked one of the most high-profile trials in music history, bringing justice to survivors who had long fought to be heard. The following year, he received a 30-year prison sentence, effectively ending his career and erasing his once-celebrated image. Once praised as a music legend, R. Kelly is now remembered as a predator whose fall from grace is one of the most shocking in entertainment history. Joe Exotic, the Tiger King who became a convicted criminal. Joseph Maldonado Passage, better known as Joe Exotic, shot to global fame with Netflix's hit docuseries Tiger King. With his bleached blonde mullet, flashy clothes, and larger-than-life personality, he became a bizarre cultural icon. But behind the eccentric image and his zoo filled with tigers and exotic animals, Joe Exotic's life was spiraling into chaos. In 2019, federal prosecutors revealed that Joe had conspired to hire a hitman to murder animal rights activist Carol Baskin, his longtime rival. The feud, once seen as outrageous reality TV drama, suddenly turned deadly serious. At the same time, investigators uncovered horrific animal abuse at his zoo, including the killing of healthy tigers to make space for more cubs. The trial painted Joe Exotic as both reckless and ruthless. In 2020, he was sentenced to 21 years in federal prison for murder for hire and multiple wildlife violations. The verdict ended his reign as the self-proclaimed Tiger King, leaving his once colorful empire in ruins. From eccentric showman to convicted felon, Joe Exotic's story is a cautionary tale of how obsession, greed, and hatred can push someone past the point of no return, transforming a reality TV personality into a criminal forever behind bars. Tammy Sytch. WWE Diva Sunnies fall into tragedy. In the 1990s, Tammy Sytch, known to wrestling fans as Sunny, was one of the most recognizable faces in WWE. With her charisma, beauty, and electrifying presence, she became the company's first true diva and a fan favorite around the world. At her peak, Sunny was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, celebrated as a trailblazer who helped redefine women's roles in professional wrestling. But outside the ring, her life was marked by personal struggles, arrests, and a long battle with addiction. In 2022, tragedy struck when Sytch was involved in a drunk driving crash in Florida that killed a 75-year-old man. The devastating incident ended not only an innocent life but also any hope of redemption for the once-beloved star. In 2023, a judge sentenced her to 17 years in prison, followed by 8 years of probation. The courtroom ruling made headlines across the sports world, shocking fans who had grown up cheering for her. From fame and glory to prison and disgrace, Tammy Sytch's story is a heartbreaking reminder of how reckless choices can destroy not only one's own life, but also the lives of others. Kid Creole. Hip-hop pioneer convicted of murder. Nathaniel Glover, better known as Kid Creole, helped shape the foundation of hip-hop as a member of the legendary group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. With their groundbreaking tracks and electrifying performances, the group earned a place in music history, and Glover was celebrated as one of the pioneers who brought rap from the streets to the global stage. But in 2017, Glover's name resurfaced for a very different reason, one that stunned fans and the music community. Late one night in Manhattan, he encountered a homeless man, John Jolly. After a brief confrontation, Glover stabbed him, later claiming he thought the man was making unwanted advances. The wound proved fatal, and what began as a heated street encounter ended in tragedy. At trial, prosecutors argued the act was unnecessary and violent, far from self-defense. In 2022, Glover was convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 16 years in prison, followed by 5 years of probation. The fall of Kid Creole is a stark reminder that even cultural icons are not above the law. From hip-hop trailblazer to convicted felon, his story highlights the fragile line between legacy and infamy when one violent choice changes everything. Austin Jones, YouTube star who threw away. His fame. Austin Jones rose to internet fame in the early 2010s as a YouTube musician known for his energetic covers of pop hits and his ability to connect with a young, loyal fan base. With millions of views and subscribers, he seemed to embody the new generation of digital stardom. But behind the screen, Jones was hiding a dark secret that would end his career and freedom. In 2017, federal investigators revealed that Jones had manipulated underage fans into sending him explicit videos and images. He admitted to pressuring them by claiming the recordings would prove their devotion to him as a fan and performer. The revelations sent shockwaves through the online community, exposing the dangers of unchecked influence in the digital age. In 2019, Jones pleaded guilty to receiving child pornography. The court sentenced him to 10 years in federal prison, marking a devastating end to his once bright career. From viral videos to prison walls, Austin Jones's downfall is a sobering reminder that internet fame comes with responsibility. His abuse of power not only betrayed his fans, but also showed how easily trust can be exploited when influence falls into the wrong hands. Bill Cosby. America's dad who fell from grace. For decades, Bill Cosby was one of the most beloved figures in American entertainment. Known as America's Dad, thanks to The Cosby Show, he built a reputation as a wholesome comedian and family icon. His humor, charm, and success made him a trailblazer, breaking barriers for black entertainers and earning respect across generations. But the man who once symbolized trust and laughter was hiding disturbing secrets. Beginning in the mid-2000s, dozens of women came forward with allegations of drugging and sexual assault spanning decades. The stories shocked fans and shattered the carefully crafted image Cosby had built over more than 50 years in the spotlight. After years of legal battles, he was convicted in 2018 on 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault. Cosby was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison, marking one of the most stunning downfalls in entertainment history. However, in 2021, Pennsylvania's Supreme Court overturned his conviction due to procedural issues, and he was released. Still, his reputation was permanently destroyed. Once celebrated as a pioneer and cultural hero, Bill Cosby is now remembered as a cautionary tale of power abused and trust betrayed. Proof that no legacy is immune to the consequences of hidden crimes. Mike Tyson. The baddest man on the planet. Brought down by crime. Mike Tyson was once the most feared boxer in the world. Nicknamed the baddest man on the planet, he became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at just 20 years old, his explosive power and ferocity making him a global superstar. But behind the fame and fortune, Tyson's life outside the ring was marked by chaos, poor decisions, and a dark spiral that ended with prison walls. In 1991, Tyson was accused of raping 18-year-old beauty pageant contestant Desiree Washington in an Indianapolis hotel room. Despite his claims of innocence, the evidence and testimony presented in court led to a conviction in 1992. The judge sentenced him to 6 years in prison, of which he served nearly 3 before being released in 1995. The conviction stunned the sports world and permanently tarnished his reputation. For many, Tyson was no longer just the unstoppable fighter, but a symbol of wasted potential and unchecked aggression. Although he later staged a boxing comeback and remained a cultural figure, his legacy will forever be shadowed by that conviction. Mike Tyson's story is a stark reminder that even the strongest champion cannot fight his way out of the consequences of his own actions. Mark Gator Rogowski. Skateboarding legend who became a convicted killer. In the 1980s, Mark Gator Rogowski was a superstar in the world of skateboarding. With his flashy tricks, bold style, and charisma, He became one of the sport's first true icons, inspiring countless young skaters. At the height of his fame, Gator had lucrative sponsorships, magazine covers, and a reputation as a pioneer of extreme sports. But behind the spotlight, his life was unraveling. By the early 1990s, Rogowski was struggling with substance abuse, personal turmoil, and the decline of his career. In 1991, that downward spiral reached its darkest point when he brutally assaulted and murdered 22-year-old Jessica Bergston, a friend of his ex-girlfriend. He confessed to the crime, admitting he had beaten her, placed her body in a surfboard bag, and buried her in the desert. The crime stunned fans who had once idolized him. In 1992, Rogowski was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 31 years to life in prison. His fall from beloved athlete to convicted killer remains one of the most shocking stories in sports history. Today, Mark Gator Rogowski serves as a haunting reminder of how fame can collapse into tragedy, and how unchecked anger and self-destruction can transform a hero into a cautionary tale. Fame can be dazzling, but as these stories reveal, it is never a shield against justice. From actors and athletes to musicians and media moguls, each of these fallen celebrities proves how quickly power, money, and adoration can vanish when choices turn destructive. Their crimes left victims, families, and fans with pain that no spotlight can erase. What begins as glamour often ends in handcuffs when arrogance, greed, or violence take control. The lesson is clear. Accountability does not discriminate. Whether you are a superstar or an ordinary citizen, every action carries consequences. Respect for others, responsibility, and integrity are far more lasting than wealth or applause. These stories should not only shock us, but remind us that true greatness is measured not by fame, but by the choices we make when no one is watching.